Episode 2, Mount Olympus, by Dr. Bak Nguyen and William Bak. The celestial realm shimmered with an otherworldly radiance, its vast expanse dotted with floating islands of pristine white marble and cascading waterfalls of liquid light. On one such island, the training grounds of heaven's elite warriors stretched out in a dazzling array of obstacle courses, sparring rings, and weapon ranges. Archangel Hermes stood at the edge of a crystalline platform, his wings a tapestry of gold and silver feathers that caught the ethereal light. His eyes, ancient and wise, surveyed the assembled angels, with a mixture of pride and concern. Archangel Hermes, voice resonating with authority.
My fellow Celestials, a crisis looms on the horizon. Zeus, the self-proclaimed king of the gods, has upset the delicate balance between realms. His unchecked power threatens both mortal and immortal alike.
The assembled angels listened intently. Teams Alpha, Omega, and Beta stood at attention, their diverse members a testament to heaven's strength. Archangel Hermes, his expression grave.
Zeus, the self-proclaimed god of the gods, has committed unforgivable crimes. He has sent the Greek gods to invade 4 new planets, enslaving all in their passage.
A murmur of shock rippled through the crowd. Hermes raised a hand, silencing them. Hermes,
Your mission is clear. Capture Zeus and bring him before the council for trial. The balance of realms hangs in the balance.
Joel, leader of Team Alpha, stepped forward confidently.
Team Alpha is more than ready to handle this mission, Hermes. We'll bring back Zeus in chains.
Her teammates nodded in agreement, their faces set with determination. Arakiba,
Yes, we'll show everyone why Team Alpha is the best.
Baratiel,
Zeus won't know what hit him.
Micah, grinning.
This will be a piece of cake.
Hermes nodded, a hint of a smile on his lips.
Very well. Team Alpha will lead the initial strike. Team Omega and Team Beta, you are to accompany them as backup.
The words hung in the air, and the reactions were immediate. Mikael bristled visibly, his platinum blonde hair seeming to stand on end.
Backup, we're just supposed to watch?
From Team Beta, Guriel's voice rang out, clear and frustrated.
This is absurd. We're capable of much more than standing by.
Lucifer, his raven-black wings twitching with annoyance, lounged against a nearby pillar.
Honestly, I'd rather skip this mission entirely. We're just observers.
Marichal clapped a hand on Lucifer's shoulder.
Come on, Lucifer, you're coming with us whether you like it or not.
Zaphon, nodding.
Yeah, we need every set of wings we can get.
The tension in the air was palpable as Joel approached the other teams, her golden wings seeming to glow with an inner light of superiority.
Try not to get in our way. We'll handle Zeus.
Mikael stepped forward, his blue eyes flashing with indignation.
Don't be so sure of yourselves, Joel. Zeus is no pushover.
Guriel.
We'll see how Team Alpha handles the real pressure.
Hermes watched the exchange with a mixture of concern and curiosity. As the teams prepared to depart, the Archangel's voice cut through the tension.
Remember, young ones, unity is our strength. Zeus and the Greek pantheon are formidable foes. Only by working together can we hope to succeed.
The assembled angels nodded, though the competitive glances between teams suggested that cooperation might be easier said than done. As they spread their wings, the gravity of their mission settled upon them. The capture of Zeus awaited, and with it, the fate of 4 worlds and the balance of the celestial order itself. Zeus's palace loomed in the distance, a grand structure of marble and gold that seemed to defy the very laws of nature. Joel turned to her team with fierce determination in her eyes.
This is our moment. Team Alpha, show them why we're the best.
The team nodded in unison, their faces set with resolve. With a powerful thrust of their wings, they soared towards Zeus's palace. As Team Alpha breached the palace walls, chaos erupted. Greek gods and mythical creatures swarmed to defend their home. Joel's voice rang out above the din.
Hold the line. We must capture Zeus.
Arakiba and Baratiel fought back to back, their celestial weapons flashing. Micah darted through the air, dodging attacks with impressive agility. But as they pressed forward, the resistance grew stronger. Suddenly, a booming laugh echoed through the halls. Zeus himself appeared, crackling with electric energy.
Foolish angels, you dare challenge me?
With a wave of his hand, Zeus unleashed a storm of lightning bolts. Team Alpha, caught off guard by the sheer power, found themselves overwhelmed. One by one, they fell, scattered, and injured across the battlefield. Meanwhile, in the inner sanctum of the Celestial Armory, Teams Omega and Beta received word of Team Alpha's defeat. The air was thick with tension as Mikael addressed the gathered angels.
Gather round, Team Alpha has been defeated, now it's our turn.
Lucifer, lounging against a rack of celestial weapons, slow-clapped sarcastically.
Brilliant observation, O fearless leader. Any other pearls of wisdom?
Zaphan, his form shimmering slightly.
Let me guess, Mikael. Your grand plan is to charge in, wings blazing?
Serviel from Team Beta stepped forward, her eyes narrowed in concern.
Simple plans often fail, Mikael. We should be more strategic.
Hasdiel turned to Zaphan.
And I suppose you have a better idea, shapeshifter?
As the tension escalated, Guriel moved between the arguing angels, her calming presence a balm to frayed nerves.
Enough. This bickering won't capture Zeus. We need to work together.
Mikael, his pride stung but resolve unshaken, laid out his plan.
We'll create a distraction in the marketplace. While Zeus is occupied, we'll infiltrate the palace.
A heated debate erupted among the angels. Ideas were thrown back and forth, strategies dissected and discarded. Finally, Mikael called for a vote.
All in favor of my plan, raise your hand.
Team Omegas rose in unison, while Team Beta remained stoically still. Morishal grinning at Team Beta.
Let's see if you can keep up.
Amriel, eyes flashing.
Don't underestimate us, Omega. We're here to win.
As the teams prepared to depart, gathering weapons and steeling their resolve, Guriel's voice cut through the competitive atmosphere.
Let's focus on the mission, not on one-upping each other. Zeus is the real enemy here.
The angels nodded, a fragile truce settling over them. As they spread their wings, ready to embark on their dangerous mission, the weight of their task hung heavy in the air. The fate of 4 worlds rested on their shoulders, and the memory of Team Alpha's defeat served as a stark reminder of the challenges that lay ahead. With a collective deep breath, Teams Omega and Beta took flight. The bustling marketplace of the mortal realm awaited, and with it, the first step in their audacious plan to capture the king of the gods. The mortal realm's marketplace burst with a cacophony of sights, sounds, and smells that assaulted the senses. Vibrant tapestries hung from weathered wooden stalls, their colors a stark contrast to the dusty streets below. The air was thick with the aroma of exotic spices and sizzling meats, mingling with the earthier scents of livestock and unwashed bodies. Omega and Beta descended from the heavens. They blended into the crowd, their divine nature hidden beneath the facade of common traders and travelers. Zaphan turned to Morishal. The shapeshifter's current form was that of a wiry merchant, a stark contrast to Morishal's burly farmer disguise.
Look at them, Morishal. All these mortals blissfully unaware of the divine drama about to unfold. Chaos in its finest form awaits us.
Morishal nodded, his usual simple demeanor replaced by a look of concern that seemed out of place on his rugged features.
Aye, but remember the risks, Zaphan. We're not here to cause lasting harm.
Zaphan's grin widened, a hint of his true nature gleaming in his eyes.
Of course not. We're just here to stir the pot.
With a wink, Zafan melted into the crowd. Moments later, shouts erupted from a nearby stall. A merchant accused his neighbor of theft, their voices rising above the market's din. As if by magic, more arguments sprang up like wildfire, spreading through the marketplace with alarming speed. Moriashal watched the unfolding chaos with a mixture of awe and apprehension. He caught sight of Mikael, disguised as a noble, nodding approvingly at the disturbance. Mikael, murmuring,
Perfect, now for phase 2.
Serviel, from Team Beta, her disguise that of a seasoned explorer, approached Mikael with barely concealed frustration.
This is madness, Zafan. There has to be a better way.
Zafan materialized beside them, his eyes dancing with glee.
We need Zeus's attention, and chaos is the quickest way. Trust me, this will work.
Hasdiel.
Fine, but next time, listen to Beta. We have brains for a reason.
As the chaos in the marketplace reached a fever pitch, Morishal took a deep breath. His role was crucial, to act as a desperate mortal and gain Zeus's trust. He looked to his teammates, receiving nods of encouragement. Morishal, voice trembling with feigned desperation.
O mighty Zeus, king of the gods, we need your divine intervention.
His booming voice carried over the tumult, echoing off the stone buildings surrounding the marketplace. The crowd fell silent, all eyes turning to the sky in anticipation. For a moment, nothing happened. The angels held their breath, wondering if their plan had failed. Then, with a crack of thunder that shook the very foundations of the earth, a blinding light appeared in the center of the marketplace. Zeus himself, resplendent in his divine glory. His beard crackled with electricity, and his eyes blazed with godly power. The mortals fell to their knees in awe and fear.
Morishal stepped forward, his mortal disguise quivering with perfectly feigned terror.
O great Zeus, our marketplace is in chaos. We beg for your wisdom to restore order.
Zeus surveyed the scene, his expression a mixture of annoyance and amusement. Unbeknownst to him, the disguised angels of Omega and Beta were slowly moving into position, ready to spring their trap. As Zeus began to address the crowd, Mikael caught Zafan's eye and gave a subtle nod. The real test was about to begin. The chess pieces were in place. Now it was time to see if their gambit would pay off, or if they would suffer the same fate as Team Alpha. They sneaked into Mount Olympus, taking advantage of Zeus' distraction in the marketplace. The grand halls of Zeus's palace stretched before them, a labyrinth of opulence and divine power. Marble columns soared towards ceilings, adorned with frescoes depicting the glory of Olympus. Golden statues of gods and heroes lined the corridors, their unseeing eyes seeming to follow the intruders as they crept through the shadows. Teams Omega and Beta, still disguised as mortals, moved with practiced stealth. Their footsteps, light as feathers, barely disturbed the dust on the ornate floor mosaics. Mikael, at the head of the group, held up a hand, signaling them to stop as they approached a set of imposing double doors. The doors themselves were a work of art, intricately carved with scenes of Zeus's greatest triumphs. On either side stood massive statues of eagles, their razor-sharp beaks and talons poised as if ready to strike any who dared approach uninvited. Mikael whispering,
This must be the entrance to Zeus's inner sanctum.
Lucifer, his eyes gleaming with mischief, stepped forward.
Allow me to provide a little distraction.
With a flick of his wrist, Lucifer conjured a dazzling display of ethereal fireworks. The colorful explosions lit up the corridor, drawing the attention of the guards stationed nearby. As the guards rushed to investigate the source of the commotion, the angels slipped through the momentarily unguarded doors, their hearts racing with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The throne room of Zeus was a sight to behold. The ceiling seemed to open up to the night sky itself, constellations swirling in a cosmic dance. At the far end, upon a dais of pure lightning made solid, sat the throne of the king of gods. Zeus himself lounged upon it, his form crackling with barely contained power. Mikael, surprised.
What the? I thought that he was down in the market.
Zeus, laughing.
You are even dumber than you look, angels. Do you think that God can't be at two places at once? We are so much more than feather birds walking in shiny armor.
All of the Greek pantheon present laughed. Around Zeus stood an assembly of Greek gods, each radiating their own divine aura. Hera, regal and imperious. Ares, his armor stained with the blood of countless battles. Apollo, his golden beauty almost painful to behold. Athena, her grey eyes sharp with wisdom. And Artemis, wild and untamed as the forests she ruled. For a moment, the angels stood transfixed, their mortal disguises flickering in the presence of such overwhelming divinity. It was Mikael who broke the spell, stepping forward and allowing his true form to shine through.
Zeus, your reign of tyranny ends now. We've come to bring you to justice.
The Greek gods turned as one, surprise quickly replaced by anger on their immortal faces. Zeus, however, merely laughed.
You think you can challenge me? I am Zeus, the ruler of Olympus.
With a wave of his hand, Zeus sent a bolt of lightning streaking towards the angels. They scattered, their wings unfurling as they took to the air, mortal disguises fully discarded. What followed was a battle of epic proportions. Zaphon shapeshifted rapidly, trying to confuse their opponents. Morishal's strength was put to the test as he grappled with Ares. Hasdiel and Athena engaged in a battle of wits as much as strength, each trying to outmaneuver the other. Lucifer and Apollo traded blows, light against darkness, neither able to gain the upper hand. Serviel found herself locked in combat with Artemis, the goddess's arrows barely missing their mark as Serviel twisted and dove through the air. But despite their valiant efforts, the angels found themselves slowly but surely overwhelmed. The Greek gods, in their seat of power, were simply too strong. Hera, her voice cold and disdainful.
Did you truly believe you could stand against the might of Olympus?
One by one, the angels fell. Mikael, the last one standing, faced Zeus with defiance burning in his eyes.
This isn't over, Zeus. Your crimes will not go unpunished.
Zeus, smirking.
Bold words from a defeated bird.
With a final, massive thunderbolt, Zeus struck Mikael down. The leader of Team Omega crashed to the ground, his wings smoking. As quickly as it had begun, the battle was over. The angels lay scattered across the throne room, battered and demoralized. The Greek gods stood triumphant, but there was no celebration in their victory, only contempt for those who had dared to challenge their authority. Zeus to his fellow gods.
Take them away, let them contemplate their folly in the depths of Tartarus.
As the defeated angels were dragged away, their minds reeled with the magnitude of their failure. They had underestimated the power of the Greek gods, and now not only had they failed in their mission, but they faced imprisonment in the darkest pit of the underworld. Yet even in defeat, a spark of defiance remained. For as long as they drew breath, there was hope. And in the shadows of Olympus, unseen and unnoticed, the seeds of a new plan began to take root. Deep within the labyrinthine corridors of Zeus's palace, Hasdiel and Zaphon, separated from their comrades in the chaos of their defeat, had managed to evade capture by the skin of their teeth. The hidden nook was barely large enough for the two angels, forcing them into uncomfortable proximity. Hasdiel's wings, usually a pristine white, were smudged with grime and soot. Zaphon's form shimmered uneasily, struggling to maintain a consistent shape in the aftermath of their grueling battle. Hasdiel, voice dripping with sarcasm.
Well, this is just perfect. trapped in enemy territory with the class clown. Brilliant.
Zafan's eyes narrowed, a flicker of hurt quickly masked by his usual mischievous grin.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you prefer to be sharing this lovely accommodations with one of your stuck-up beta teammates?
The tension between them was palpable, years of inter-team rivalry bubbling to the surface. Hasdiel's cutting intellect clashed against Zafan's irreverent wit, their whispered argument growing more heated by the moment. Hasdiel.
If you had just stuck to the plan instead of showing off.
Zafan, interrupting.
The plan? You mean Mikael's brilliant strategy of charge in and hope for the best? Fat lot of good that did us.
Their voices, though hushed, echoed dangerously in the empty corridor. Both angels froze, hearts pounding as they listened for any sign of approaching guards. When none came, they exhaled in unison, the shared moment of fear cutting through their animosity. Hasdiel, softly.
This isn't working. We need to find a way out of here, to rescue the others.
Zafan, nodding reluctantly.
Agreed. But how? In case you hadn't noticed, we're a bit outmatched here.
A beat of silence passed as both angels pondered their predicament. Then slowly, a spark of inspiration lit up Hasdiel's eyes. Hasdiel.
What if we don't try to overpower them? What if we outsmart them instead?
Zafan raised an eyebrow, intrigued despite himself.
I'm listening.
Hasdiel.
Zeus is arrogant, used to getting his way. What if we use that against him? What if we drug him?
Zafan's eyes widened, a slow grin spreading across his face.
Now you're talking my language, but how do we get close enough?
As they brainstormed, bouncing ideas off each other, the initial hostility between them began to fade. Hasdiel found herself impressed by Zafan's quick thinking and creativity, while Zafan gained a new respect for Hasdiel's strategic mind. Zafan.
What if we use different ingredients? I could apply one to my lips, you another. When combined...
Hasdiel, finishing his thought.
They create a powerful sedative. Zafan, that's brilliant.
Their eyes met, a moment of mutual appreciation passing between them. For the first time, they saw each other not as rivals, but as valuable allies. Meanwhile, in the depths of Tartarus, the rest of Omega and Beta found themselves in a similar situation. Chained in a dank, sulphurous cavern, they were forced to confront their failure and each other. Serviel, her wings bound tightly to her back, addressed the group.
We need to regroup and think strategically. This isn't over yet.
Mikael, his pride bruised but not broken, nodded in agreement.
You're right. We've underestimated Zeus, but we can still win this.
Guriel, her calming presence a balm to frayed nerves.
We need to work as one team. No more rivalry. It's the only way we'll get out of here and complete our mission.
As the angels began to plan, sharing ideas and strategies, the divisions between Omega and Beta started to blur. United by their shared predicament and common goal, they found strength in their diverse abilities and perspectives. Lucifer, with a wry smile.
Well, well, look at us. One big, happy, celestial family.
His quip, rather than causing offense, elicited chuckles from the group. The laughter, though tinged with bitterness, helped to lighten the oppressive atmosphere of their prison. As both groups, Hasdiel and Zafan in the palace, and the rest in Tartarus, plotted their next moves, a sense of hope began to grow. They had been defeated, yes, but they were far from broken, and as they worked together, putting aside old rivalries and embracing their collective strengths, they felt a new power growing within them. The stage was set for their comeback. Zeus and the Greek gods might have won the battle, but the war was far from over, and this time the angels were determined to emerge victorious, united in their purpose. As the last echoes of revelry faded from Olympus, Hasdiel's heart raced with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. She took a deep breath, steadying her nerves before making her move. With graceful steps, she sauntered into Zeus's throne room, her wings glamoured to appear as those of a minor deity. The air was thick with the aftermath of divine debauchery. Snoring gods sprawled across couches and floors. At the far end of the hall, Zeus lounged on his throne, his eyes heavy-lidded, but still alert. Hasdiel approached, her hips swaying hypnotically. Each step brought her closer to danger, closer to success. Zeus's gaze locked onto her, his interest piqued despite his inebriated state. A thrill of excitement shot through her as she realized the power she held in this moment. Zeus, voice husky with drink.
What brings you to my throne room at this hour, little goddess?
Hasdiel's voice trembled slightly, but she disguised it with a sultry tone.
Oh, mighty Zeus! I couldn't sleep knowing you were here, all alone.
She reached out, trailing her fingers along his arm. Her touch left a faint, shimmering trail of the first essence. Zeus caught her hand, bringing it to his lips. Hasdiel's breath caught in her throat, a mixture of anticipation and fear. Zeus, smirking.
Is that so? Well, we can't have you lonely, can we?
As he licked her palm, the first essence began to take effect. Zeus's eyes dilated, his breathing quickened. Emboldened by his reaction, Hasdiel stepped closer, allowing her scent to envelop him. Zeus inhaled deeply, his nostrils flaring as the second essence worked its magic. Zeus, voice deepening with desire.
You smell intoxicating. Come closer, my dear.
Hasdiel complied, her heart pounding as Zeus pulled her onto his lap. She could feel the raw power emanating from him, and for a moment, doubt crept into her mind. What if the essences weren't strong enough? What if she failed? Pushing aside her fears, Hasdiel leaned in, allowing Zeus to bury his face between her breasts. The second essence flooded his senses, amplifying the first. Zeus groaned, his hands roaming her body with increasing urgency.
So soft. So perfect.
Just then, a stirring from across the room caught Hasdiel's attention. Hera was beginning to wake, her eyes fluttering open. Panic surged through Hasdiel as she realized time was running out. Hera's gaze focused, confusion quickly giving way to anger as she took in the scene before her. Jealousy, an all-too-familiar emotion, twisted her features into a mask of rage.
Zeus! What do you think you're doing?
Zeus, lost in his lust-induced haze, barely registered his wife's voice. Hasdiel knew it was now or never. With trembling hands, she cupped Zeus's face, drawing him up for a passionate kiss. As their lips met, she poured every ounce of seductive energy she possessed into the kiss, willing the final and most potent essence to work quickly. Zeus responded with fervor, oblivious to Hera's approach. Hasdiel's mind raced, silently pleading for the essence to take effect before Hera could intervene. Suddenly, Zeus's body stiffened. His eyes widened in shock, meeting Hasdiel's gaze with a mixture of betrayal and dawning comprehension. Then, as if strings had been cut, he slumped in his throne, unconscious. Hasdiel barely had time to breathe a sigh of relief before Hera's scream shattered the silence.
Treachery!
Hasdiel leapt from Zeus's lap, her glamour falling away to reveal her true angelic form. Hera's eyes widened in disbelief, her jealousy giving way to horror as she realized the full extent of what had transpired.
You dare to strike down the king of gods. You will pay for this insolence.
But it was too late. As the other gods jolted awake, confused and still intoxicated, the air shimmered with divine energy. The cavalry had arrived, and the fate of Olympus hung in the balance. As the air crackled with divine energy, archangels Antum, Ezekiel, Hermes, and Gabriel materialized. accompanied by their angelic squadrons. The room erupted into chaos, the sudden appearance of celestial beings shocking the barely awake gods into action. Hasdiel, still breathless from her encounter with Zeus, quickly moved to secure the unconscious king of gods. Her hands trembled slightly as she bound him with celestial chains, the weight of her actions finally settling upon her. Hera, voice dripping with venom.
You treacherous little harlot! I'll tear those pretty wings from your back!
The Queen of Gods lunged at Hasdiel, her divine power manifesting as a swirling storm around her. But before she could reach the angel, Archangel Gabriel intercepted.
Stand down, Queen Hera. This need not end in further violence.
Across the room, Ares stumbled to his feet, his war-hardened instincts kicking in despite his inebriated state. His eyes blazed with fury as he surveyed the scene.
What is the meaning of this? How dare you invade Olympus?
The god of war reached for his sword, but found his movements sluggish and uncoordinated. Archangel Antom appeared before him, her presence alone enough to give Ares pause.
Your reign of capricious violence ends today, Ares. Surrender peacefully and you will be treated with dignity.
Meanwhile, Apollo, his legendary accuracy, compromised by the lingering effects of ambrosia, knocked an arrow and aimed unsteadily at the angelic host. Apollo, swaying slightly.
Stand down or face the wrath of the gods.
His threat, however, rang hollow in the face of the overwhelming celestial force. Archangel Ezekiel raised an eyebrow, almost amused by the display.
I admire your spirit, Apollo, but perhaps you should reconsider your position. Your arrows, formidable as they may be, are no match for our divine mandate.
As the standoff intensified, a commotion at the entrance drew everyone's attention. Zafan burst into the hall, his face flushed with exertion and triumph. Behind him streamed the rescued angels of Omega and Beta, their faces a mixture of relief and determination. Zafan grinning wildly.
Sorry we're late to the party. Traffic in Tartarus was hell.
His eyes met Hasdiel's across the room, a silent exchange of pride and accomplishment passing between them. But there was no time for celebration yet. With the arrival of reinforcements, the remaining resistance crumbled. Ares and Apollo, despite their best efforts, found themselves quickly overwhelmed. The once mighty Greek pantheon, caught off guard and still reeling from their revelry, were no match for the coordinated assault of the celestial host. As the dust began to settle, Hasdiel found herself face to face with Hera once more. The Queen of Gods, now restrained by angelic bindings, fixed her with a gaze of pure hatred.
You may have won this battle, little angel, but mark my words, this isn't over. The cosmos has a way of balancing itself. Your victory today will come at a price.
Hasdiel felt a chill run down her spine, but she steeled herself, meeting Hera's gaze unflinchingly.
Perhaps, but the price of inaction would have been far greater.
As the angels prepared to transport their divine prisoners, Hasdiel and Zafan shared a moment of quiet triumph. They had succeeded where others had failed, capturing Zeus and paving the way for a new cosmic order. Zafan, for Hasdiel's ears only.
We did it. I can hardly believe it.
Hasdiel, a mix of emotions in her eyes.
We did, but I can't help feeling this is just the beginning.
As they looked out over the subdued pantheon of Greek gods, both angels knew that their greatest challenges and the far-reaching consequences of their actions were only just beginning. The cosmic balance had been irrevocably shifted, and the ripples of their audacious plan would soon spread across realms both mortal and divine. This is Omega, the 4th volume of Legends of Destiny.